Great evening to you, repeat listeners, as well as anybody new out there channeling in for the first time. This is Man to Man, an authentic conversation between the amazing Cedric Edison and myself, Ron Servin. Really excited about tonight. Two kind of new variations on what we've been putting out there. This is our first video podcast that we're putting to you to actually put a little bit more of a face with a voice, or two faces with two voices, and also just kind of a unique topic tonight, which is we don't know. Just kind of checking in with the free flow, spontaneous, wherever we may go type situation, and just kind of see what that turns out like. So hope you are able to enjoy, sit back and relax, and again, share any of these types of topics that we've done previously or tonight with others that may provide some value to them in their life and their ability to be the best versions of themselves. So without further ado, I give you Man to Man, an authentic conversation. And once again, we call this free flow. Enjoy. Well, we just spent a couple minutes before checking in with you, our wonderful listeners. And today's kind of a special day for us, just kind of free-forming it. We've had some topics in the past that have resonated with us, and today we just decided just to let things go, and whatever is kind of hot on our minds or in our mindset right now, we're gonna throw it out there. So we don't know what this is gonna sound like or look like. We're actually recording
authentic
live.
Baby.
First time recording live, so you put some faces with some voices here, and just for me, I mean, this is kind of where I was at coming into it, into the conversation. Just feeling a little bit of sadness for, I guess, mankind to a certain extent, where we're still, this is as much as we think we've evolved as humans, that we still find reason to create separation between us, whether it's, a black man sitting here talking with a white man, or, I was even thinking about the topic of man to man and how individuals might look at that as being, like a topic around gay people or something like that. Then I was thinking, what if it was? What if me and Cedric, when we're both very strong heterosexual men, but how would that change for you, the listener, if you found that out about us? And I guess that just, for me, I feel kind of a sense of, again, sadness, that we haven't evolved to the point where, we're 99.999% biologically the same, yet we'll pick out that one little small percent and judge that difference in ourselves, whether you're gay or you're black or you're Chinese or whatever you are in your life. It just, to me, it just seems like such a waste of humanity that we still have the mindset that, we find how we're different versus that oneness that we can tap into as humans and learn and grow and love and all these things that are so much more pleasurable in our life. Cedric, I was just thinking about that just, before we got on. I just had to release that and just put it out there. And I'm not sure.
Man, I like you hear something like, I'm like, damn. Well, okay, saying that, I guess man, god damn. This is an interesting thing. Like what you just said is very, very interesting to me. And I guess I say that because as a black male, I do seem to perceive a lot of things different. I see a lot of separation. You know what I'm saying? So I guess like I kind of came up learning to deal with that type of separation. But I was also thinking, like, from a point like with us, with coaches, you know what I'm saying? Like, we understand that how the human brain works. And I guess it's really like, how I look at it, man, maybe most people are coming from a place of that's what they know, because the brain only knows how to operate under based on all the past decisions. And I was just talking with a coworker, well, the owner actually, about this, and he was like, man, and we were talking like people only know to base it on everything that they from the past and everything that we learned, like our beliefs, our behaviors, all of that comes from whatever we really surrounded by. And you can be grown and look at stuff and see, oh, well, like how I look at you is you're just another dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're just another dude. But now another black male in my age bracket or whatever could come across and look at you like, oh, that's a white dude. Let me watch out for him. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? That's the man, right? But honestly, most of that comes about from one, how you were brought up, and then two, kind of how you decide to change a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I'm
know?
thinking, why can't we be more bold in our lives to create that change? I mean, I'm just thinking about, what we need, in our heart to, kind of live our life, and one of the main ripples that our hearts are able to receive and to give is acceptance. I mean, we all crave acceptance from our fathers, from our friends, from, just life in
Yeah.
general. And, if we just listen to our heart a little bit more, and we allow that to kind of lead us, I think, like you said earlier, we get stuck in our head, right? We're conditioned a certain way to believe what we've been told, or what we see on the on the news, or all these other sources that we just put value on, versus stand up and create that change in your life, in the moments where somebody says something that just does not resonate with you. Be that person that's willing to say, you know what, you have your opinion, but I completely disagree. This is kind of how I feel. Be willing to stand up and express those types of behaviors that are just unacceptable, I think, in this day and age. Obviously we see it every day, and it's not changing anytime soon. But if are listening to this, and you have some of these kind of uncertainties about how you feel about how in judgment in your life, or kind of how you separate yourself from others, whether it's your ego or whether it's just other aspects of who you are, be willing to find the uniqueness or the connections or the similarities that we have, and tap into those, because every single person you run into in your life has a gift they can give you, and as well as you have gifts yourself that you can give to others. So why not focus on that, and create more of that harmony in your life? And I know it sounds very kind of rainbows and beautiful colors and all that, but it's your freaking decision. I mean, you make a decision every single moment of your life. And if you just maybe take one extra second before you push the button that gives you that result that you've always been willing to push, knowing that there might be another choice to create a more nourishing decision for you and others in this world, fucking do it, man. I mean, have the balls to stand up and to make those changes, create the change that we all want in this world. Don't just sit back and be critical of how society is these days. Make those differences in people's lives, whether it's through being a brother or a father or a coach or a boyfriend or whatever that is. I mean, I challenge everyone that's listening to this to step up. I mean, it's time.
Yeah. Man, man, I'm hit so many things just firing off. I'm like, ooh, we he on to something. Um, but I was like, man, when you like stand up, and be the change. And I guess if I had to put something out there, I'd be like, man, for me, and everything I say is really a personal thing. Like this is always like me talking to myself or reflecting on some stuff, and this is stuff I probably have said to myself or thought to myself, but it's don't be afraid to let people see you.
Mm-hmm.
And don't be afraid of the failure, because many times for me, it was like a combination of everything. I'm like, man, I don't want to, the fear is scaring me to stand up because they might judge me. And now I don't want to fail, and I don't want people to see my life. But here's the man, if we really got down to the nuts and bolts, I was real scared to have to practice what the hell I preach.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And I think that's the biggest problem, man. And we have to try and figure out a way to tap into that,
Right.
to get people to understand it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not perfect. You gonna mess up. You are. Unless you're a perfect person, you will fail
Right.
at something.
Yeah.
You will mess up.
And I think
And that's
go ahead.
yeah, no, go.
I was going to say it's our willingness to accept our role in that judgment as well, because I think often, or probably more often than not, that judgment that we feel may come from others is most likely our own judgment. And we're kind of pushing it off on others because we don't want to work harder on ourselves, and we can and not the judgment doesn't come from other kind of avenues in our life, but how much of that judgment that you're feeling is something that you're kind of initiating in your mindset going into a situation to where just makes it even more compounded when you feel that judgment from others. So I guess I would ask myself included, in those situations where I play small or I feel like I'm going to be judged, who's really the bigger judge in those situations? Is it my audience, or is a lot of times is it me?
Let me ask you this: unless the audience actually says something, do you really know?
No, and I think that's my way of almost reassuring myself that my beliefs, my limiting beliefs about myself are true, right? I judge myself, therefore I need to have others feel that same way. That way I can continue this, this negative thought and play that game very well. I think it's, I was thinking about that earlier, in the day, that, whatever we're good at, we're going to do. And that could be a very negative habit that we know exactly how to, that's how it's going to end up. And it feels okay because we know the expected results, and we're willing to sacrifice our own livelihood because, we're too afraid of doing something, even though we know it's probably going to be more nourishing. We're not sure of the results. So we have the tendency, I think, as humans overall, is to err on the side of the easy button. And even if that's a behavior that doesn't serve us well, we'll gravitate toward that. But I mean, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, this is our opportunity to be mindful and be in the moment and make that change. I mean, just those subtle changes. I mean, it doesn't have to be that huge step forward in your life to where you change everything about yourself. Just those little things, that you can do every single day, every single moment of your life to stop. It's kind of like when you're doing like a talk in front of a group of people, and you pause and you gather your thought, and then you express yourself. And we think we're being judged. It's too long. Do they think that I don't know what I'm going to say? Do I know what I'm going to say? But I think for me, the more and more I've done speaking in front of groups, that second or two that you take to kind of reframe what you're going to say or think about what you're going to say and then deliver it is the same thing in life. If we take that little pause before we react, and we tap into more of the emotion that we're feeling before we react, oftentimes we'll get to the root of the problem versus pushing it off onto somebody else and making it their issue.
Hell yeah. Golly, man, that was I remember you told, man, we was talking a while back, and this still helped me to this day. You're like, man, a thought is just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's real heavy for me. I'm like, wow, man, a thought really is just a thought.
Well, it's even
and
more.
we materialize it.
Yeah.
And
What's even more, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. What's even more, kind of interesting is, most, if not, well, probably 90% of our thoughts are not ours. They're thoughts that we've been conditioned to believe, or other people's thoughts that we've adopted ourselves. So I guess that's kind of an interesting question to ask yourself. How many authentic thoughts are you generating in your life to create change? probably not as many as you should be if you're really wanting to, kind of move in a much more positive direction. And it's difficult to, kind of, and the goal shouldn't be to judge thoughts, as you mentioned. They're just kind of clouds in the sky. That it's how we or what, kind of attention we put on those thoughts, and that's what's going to dictate, kind of the direction of the decision that we make. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just, when you mentioned that,
Oh, no, no.
I was just thinking about just how profound that is, about most of our thoughts aren't ours, yet we put so much value knowing that, or not knowing, but, just that, just kind of a different way to look at our thoughts is, how can I create my own unique thoughts versus how many of my thoughts are things that my father told me over and over, or how many things that my wife told me over and over again. And then we adopt them and we make them ours, and we believe them because, we don't know anything else, and we push that easy button again. Um, yeah. Slow down.
Play the game.
Yeah.
Like we hear, how's it go? Yeah, you play the game. You always win in the game you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the game we play with ourselves. And as you were talking, I was like, you know what? That's pretty true. And like we get to write the rules.
Yeah.
So if it's, oh no, it's too hard. No, I'm not going to be able to do that. I have to kick the ball from, the other end zone to try and no, I'm not going to do that. We're going to hit the easy button. No, let me kick it from the 5-yard line, right?
Yeah.
It's much easier. And from field goal, goal line to goal line, that's crazy absurd. But I mean, we can kind of get the picture of where I'm going with it, but that's the beauty of it. We get to decide, when it's based on that thought, hey, whatever, they even if it comes, from somewhere and it just pops in my head, you know what, I don't want to do this video. What are they going to think? Oh my God. And I start beating myself up. The cool thing about it is I still have time, or I still have the option to choose.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's like one of the most beautiful things that the universe can bless us with is free will and the will to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you rewrite your own destiny.
Right.
Because if I'm in that same thought process, I don't fool with those people, or even sometimes it'll slip into family mood. Oh no, I'm not going to go to this person's house or call this person. I already know how they're going to react. Oh no, I'm not going to, all these little thoughts, but we're forgetting that we have the choice to still do what I need to and call my family member. And so what if they do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what if they judge me? I can still choose to do what it is I want to do. I want to do the video. So just do it versus not doing it and living those regrets. I was just like, man, but that's really what's happening. Everybody is winning the game that they're playing.
Yep.
And man, that's a scary thing.
Well, and I think even stepping back even closer to that initial, because usually when we have some sort of charge, there's something in our body that tells us, that doesn't sit well with me. So, but believe me, I don't do this all the time, and it's a practice, and it takes, a lot of effort and awareness to do it. But, when that feeling comes, whether it's, as like anxiety, or you feel those butterflies in your stomach, those types of things, just more, I guess for me, what I try to do more, and again, I don't do it all the time. I definitely get in my head at times and still kind of struggle with, aspects of my life. But what I've tried to be more mindful of is just like, oh, wow, there's that same freaking energy that I felt yesterday in the same situation. What is it about the situation that causes versus, kind of the reaction I'm going to take? And I think if you really kind of in our life try to continually move back closer and closer to that exact moment and being present as much as possible, and just being curious and wondering, just kind of being like, wow, every day I feel the same anxiety around this time. What is it? I understand I'm at work and and that may have something to do with it, but what really is the core or the root of this feeling? And I think if you spend some time in that, it may be something completely different than what you seem to gravitate towards the answer is. And I think again, it's pushing that easy button versus digging deeper within ourselves and maybe finding something that we aren't necessarily proud of or happy that we have that kind of at our core. But that's where you're going to grow from. That's where you're going to create some change. That's where you're going to be able to acknowledge and not judge that, yeah, that's where I was at one point in my life, but now I've taken my life a little bit more seriously. I'm making decisions that are not just nourishing for myself, but they're nourishing for everybody else that's going to be connected to that decision that I'm making or that statement that I'm saying. Or I was talking to my son about that. Just be willing to or to understand how all the things that we say, how they're going to be perceived. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was reading a book about, I was sharing with him what I read in a book about the idea of like your kids' shoes laying on the floor in their room, and your reaction to that of going in there and saying, how many times have I told you to put your shoes away? In the book was talking about maybe looking at it as someday those shoes aren't going to be there. My son's going to move on to he's going to move out, he's going to be married, and there's not going to be those shoes someday to cause me to get this reaction towards him. So maybe I can rethink all these moments that I spend with people in my life, my son I'm talking about, and shoes on the floor. It's like, can I not put myself in that situation and provide a more nourishing, kind of statement or response to him in that moment versus kind of that, that emotional scar that if we do it over and over again is something that we've all kind of battled in our life, that we've been told from our fathers that you're this or you're that, or you're never going to be this or you're never going to be that. We remember those things, right? And sometimes we forget where they've come from, yet we sometimes go in that same mode of, that's what we've learned from our past, so maybe that's what I should do. So dare to be different. I mean, dare to kind of create that space, move closer to that moment where you kind of have options. Be curious. I mean, just wonder why the heck am I going through the same freaking feeling?
Right? Yeah. And not like for me, man, I'm always looking at it from a motivational side sometimes, and even if it's not a feeling, because I know like what really made me get a kick in my ass was, and I'm by no means where my vision is leading me, but I was very low. You know what I'm saying? Looking back, like, man, here I am. I've been to the military, I've been to college, I've done all this stuff, but here I am still making the same types of decisions. Well, not even decisions. I hadn't even made it to that point yet. I just got fucking tired of looking around. I was like, man, I'm not sleeping in my car, not another fucking day. Like, I'm not sleeping in my car another day. And then I'm thinking, why am I even here? Like, what am I doing? When you get, sometimes the picture lays out the same way. If you in the same situation, like I heard a man say, if you fall off a horse and you fall on the ground, that's okay. But if I come back a year later and you still on the ground on your back, then I got a problem.
Yeah.
When are you going to realize, okay, pick yourself up, dust yourself off again, because look, here it is another month, I can't pay my light bill, I can't do this, or here it is another day, I can't do this, or I'm not doing what I want to do, and I'm in the same situation. I'm so tired, my friends suck, my everything sucks. Woe is like, when are you going to make a decision to get to wake the hell up? Yep. You have to change it. It's the same thought patterns and the same act. Is really the, the same action, because the thought can kind of trigger an action, but you don't necessarily have to take it.
Right.
Whatever it triggers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, be bold enough to try the different thing you've been doing. Right. That's insanity. Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Okay, I'm sad, and what I normally do is go have retail therapy. And you go blow your money, and now here it is, man, how am I going to do this now? Or, man, I'm sad, let me go call Ron. Hey, man, we finna go play out the town, man. Fucking shots all around. Oh, damn. Now I got to call my mama and get some gas money. Like, when are you going to get tired of being in that same situation?
Right.
And even if you're in your business, where if you plateaued, and when are you going to get tired of being in that situation and make a move to change, to change it all? Like, whatever your business is, whatever, at work, you're trying to get a promotion, it don't matter. It don't matter. If the situation flatlining or plateauing, make a decision to do something different.
Yep.
Like, I can't, man, man, that's crazy. I'm sorry, I kind of went on one there.
No, and I think you're exactly right. And I think what we also have to do, I think as human beings, is to push others. I mean, to be the best version of themselves. I mean, I think it's, for a lot of people, I guess it can be a rough life. I mean, obviously they make decisions that cause their life to be maybe more challenging than others, but, you know, be one in people's lives that are willing to, you know, kind of make them aware of opportunities for themselves. And that could just be a subtle conversation. I've got to share with you. So I had I think I posted on Facebook about, within the 2002 month challenge, about offering my life coaching program for free to a homeless man. So I was sharing that with Michael Arnold yesterday, and she warned me. She says, you know, be careful, Ron. You know, you don't know what, you know, kind of who that person is. And it's a guy that I've seen for years and years and years. He hangs out at the Starbucks just right on the border of the city I work in and the adjacent city. And I see him all the time, just kind of hanging out there. So I just, you know, kind of had that idea of, gosh, you know, what might happen if I offer that? So I actually went there today, saw him. He's got, and I never knew exactly where he lived. So there's a wall behind the Starbucks, and he's got this cardboard little structure. So I just, you know, kind of, hey, you know, anybody in there? And he answered and came out, and I introduced myself, told him who I was. He didn't speak. It was difficult for him to understand me, and he spoke kind of broken English. But I reached out to him and said, you know, here's my card. You know, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. I'm going to stop by periodically just to check in on you. And here's somebody that lives, you know, a life of, you know, of struggles and maybe has no avenues to make change in his life. So the point of my story is, you know, why can't we as individuals, even if that one conversation never leads anywhere with me and him ever again, whether or not the opportunity for me to be able to connect with him at a deeper level and have some conversations about how he might be able to improve his life, I mean, that would be awesome. But I think just that subtle little conversation I had today, just following through on that for me, and being a little scared, not knowing what to expect from that, was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Because I'm like, man, that's smothered it in so much. I'm like, man, one, you know, like, I'm looking at it like, damn, man, that's a big step. You know, you wanted to do that, because a lot of stuff could come out of that. And I'm sure, because I think about it, you know, I'm like, man, you know, what could happen? Not necessarily happen to me, but that judgment thing, like, man, what if, you know, I really want to go in and help this guy, and And am I going into it with the right intention? What if it falls flat and people say, ha ha ha, I told you so,
Mm-hmm.
and you step through that. But I'm like, man, you know what? That's really the type of change we need
Mm-hmm.
in the world, man, and the way to be able to look at people. Because for you, it's like, man, I had a blessing to serve people and help somebody. I don't know if it's going to help. And even if it doesn't, for you to even give this man a contact, a way to call you and get in touch with you,
Mm-hmm.
and you tell him these words, let me know if there's anything I can do with you to help you, right? And I know that the people that's in my community, shit, they see a homeless man and they like, oh, hell nah.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone, honestly, if they got a business, they like, oh, hell nah. Because all he going to be doing is just calling me, trying to get somebody. I ain't fooling with that. I ain't even finna bring that in my house. I ain't fooling with it, right?
Yeah.
But we're in the same boat, and I see that change. That's the type of change we need to bring to the world, folks.
Yep.
Like, to be able to say, I just want to help a human. And the thing is, for me, like, really what motivates me a lot of the times is, I've kind of is habitual now, or becoming more habitual, but it's from all the stories you see from people just one helping hand and rose these people up like a phoenix, from living under the bridge. Who knows, like 5 years from now, we don't know how this could impact this dude. Because that's all he could have been looking to give him that motivation. Like, you know what, man, there's a decent human that wants to see, you know what I'm saying, that's helping me and is genuine. Right. Man, golly, that's so, man, it's smothered with that, man. Like, God damn, that's what we need in the world.
Well, and obviously that's a pretty extreme action to take, and I'm glad I did it, and I'm going to kind of continue my journey, as far as whatever that looks like with him. But I did another one at the gym the other day. I was on the treadmill, and there's a guy that I've seen every time I go there who cleans all of the equipment. And I'm like thinking, how much appreciation does he get? Here's a guy that's walking around the gym, cleaning all the sweat and grime off of machines that all these people that have come in there and used. And so I introduced myself. I said, I'm Ron. I just want to thank you for making my experience at the gym better because of what you do. And he gets this big smile. I mean, it's like one of the biggest smiles I've seen on his face. And things like that. I mean, we all have opportunities in our day to create some sort of connection with somebody and don't have any expectations from it other than giving that from your heart, that ripple that you can create. And like a wave, that ripple may affect that person 10 years from now.
Right.
Okay. It may affect them tomorrow. So I think going into it with the understanding of just letting the results go and just giving him your heart and creating ripples in your own life, but also others' lives, that's how change happens. And, everyone that's listening to this, you have the same ability that I had to not necessarily do what I did, but it could just be a, acknowledgement of somebody as you walk down the sidewalk. It could be, somebody drops something on the ground and you're willing to pick it up versus just walking by staring at your cell phone. All those little subtle things that allow us to connect with each other, because we're in a society now of disconnection, and it's going to get worse.
Oh, yeah.
Technology is going to continue on. It's not stopping anytime soon. And don't we owe it to ourselves to take time in the day to share ourselves with somebody else, a human being? And that could just be a smile, it could be a wave, it could be anything other than just a head down looking at an electronic device.
Right, man. I remember I remember seeing that post, and it was funny because I was with my sister. Like, I had read it, and I think I was in a truck or about to get in a truck or whatever, man. And we ended up going to Walmart, and like that was just kind of playing through my mind, and I started thinking about the call center job I had, and people were like, "Oh my God, you're so pleasant," and that would really make me feel good. And I was like, "Man, damn, okay, that's what it's about." And I remember telling her, I was just like, "Man, I appreciate what you're doing." And she kind of honestly, she kind of looked at me weird, like, "Okay, that's kind of strange." And she gave me like a thank you. But then I was thinking, I was like, man, probably once I'm gone, though, this lady is playing in her mind, and she could tell it was genuine, because I was like, "Oh, hey, do your thing." And golly, man, like I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was about to say, but I do remember reading that and posting that. I was going to go somewhere with it. I apologize, guys. It happens
Well,
sometimes.
yeah, just
This is our first, and I'm super nervous.
you don't get nervous. Come on. But yeah, just the ripples of the
Nah.
heart. Ripples of the heart, acceptance, acknowledgement, appreciation, and the things that we are able to give to, again, give to ourselves, give to others, appreciation, all those things that affection, because that's the fourth one, affection. So attention, appreciation, affection, acknowledgement. Those are all necessary in our lives. And we can't always search for others to give that to us. I mean, it's nice when we get that, but we can also give that to ourselves. That self-acknowledgement, self-acceptance, that self-love, all those things that we sometimes deprive ourselves of. This is awesome, man.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
We're gonna have to do more of this free flow more often. I'm not sure how it is for the audience, but I'm kind of digging on it.
Yeah, man, me too. Because it's like, man, we getting super deep, super quick, and it's just bam, bam, bam. Nugget here, nugget there. Yeah. But I remember I was about to say, man. Like, it's just because sometimes, like, man, and this is for the listeners, guys. Sometimes you might be there and like some of this stuff just seems kind of like how Ron said, all rainbows, hokey pokey, man, just all hug a tree type stuff. But it's really not. Like, I like to try and break it down simple, like how I see it. And it's just really being good, like on an innocent level, like when you're a kid. Because for the most part, most human beings, when it's your kid, you try to maintain their innocence, right? And so you don't talk about people, don't do this. But then in turn, we'll be the first ones to talk about somebody, right? So really, we want our kids to be good people, good little humans. So no, don't do that. Don't do that. That's not good. That's not nice, right? So really, we have to tap into that for us and just be good and be nice. Because a kid, man, these kids, if you just watch a kid, it's a beautiful thing, man. Because they so innocent and they so honest, and if they see somebody, oh, hi, they'll speak to, especially a baby. You know what I'm saying? They have no idea. They're not corrupt.
Right.
They don't know. So they're just being nice. Hey, hi, right? Oh, be good. They're not really going to talk about anybody. They don't know how to talk about people until they learn or they're taught, right? So they're not going to do this stuff. And they'll come by and tell you like, oh, you're a good uncle. You're a good dad. Or if you kind of pop them on the hand, you're a bad dad. You're a bad uncle, right? Because it's just an adverse effect. But in general, all they're doing is just doing nice stuff and being good to people. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't, because they don't judge. Like if it's, the Hispanic lady or the lady at Walmart cleaning or folding the clothes, or it's the dude behind the counter at the gas station. They don't, hey, what's your name? They don't care, they don't care. And that's what we have to do. Right. Because we say we want the world to be good. Why aren't there more nice people? I guess my question would be, are you one of those? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is no, if you're not being nice and good, become that one extra person in the world to be nice and good. Might help.
It's funny when you were saying that. I was having a 13-year-old son right now, uh, and you're going to go through this. There's going to come a point where telling your son or daughter, if you have a daughter, anybody listening out there, there's that age that they don't want to be told what to do. So along with what you're saying goes your willingness to show by example. I mean, to live your life to where, because, I just see my son and he wants to be like me. So in some aspects, other aspects, obviously wants to be, kind of create his own persona and be himself. But, the things that I look for him to, kind of grasp as a, young boy in his life, trying to establish, certain things that are important from a, integrity standpoint and an honorable man, and, allowing him to share his feelings and things like that, oftentimes aren't taught to children, especially men or young boys. Just showing him that. I mean, not telling him, don't cry, or don't do this, don't do that, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. More for me at this age, just showing him. And, by doing even this podcast, I mean, he listens to some of it. And he knows that I'm doing good things in the world, and I'm not telling him to go out and be a good person. I think it's your willingness to lead by example and do the things in people's presence that allows them to see how beautiful, a person in life can be.
Yeah, because I guess I would ask, you guys, have you ever found yourself saying, don't do as I do, do as I say? Like, I'm not gonna lie, man. I heard that a whole lot coming up.
Right.
And I look back, and that was the dumbest thing my mama could ever told me.
Right.
Looking back, in retrospect, I'm like, okay, we're just automatic rebellious creatures. You tell me, no, don't go there. I want to go just to see. Right. Why are you telling me I can't go? It's not that I just want to go and defy you. Right. I just think it's something good there. Right? So don't smoke. Well, all the other grown people are smoking. Okay, I just won't smoke around. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Versus leading by example. Right. If you don't want me to smoke, the best way to get me not to smoke is for me to see this person, like for the most part, a parent is like a god to a child. Your mom, your dad. If something goes wrong, the closest one, mom, dad, fix it. They're messing with me. God, come get them, right? Yeah. So that's the best way that's lead by example. Right. For real. Don't tell them, don't be that one. Don't do as I do, do as I say. Because now when it's time for you to say, they're going to be like, well, you didn't do, so why should I now?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, or at the very least, explain why you're saying don't do this or don't do that. Don't just throw out those blankets. Don't do, don't. Just mix in or be willing to explain to that individual, I'm coming from a place of love, and maybe you've experienced that, or you've kind of seen others, kind of struggle with that. So I think when you give more reason and justification and share, the reasons why you're kind of coaching them through a situation, or suggesting or asking them not to do something. I think if it's just, a command and there's no reasoning behind it, I think we're all going to rebel against that. I think even in the workplace, if your boss just tells you, don't do that. I mean, you want a reason why. You want to be able to succeed. And unless you know what the better route to go is to move forward, then you're going to just, kind of rebel against that, versus having some boundaries and some guidance, in those situations to know, what's right and wrong. And we all want that in our life, whether or not we want to admit it or not. We all want boundaries. We all want to know, kind of where we need to work within. And then we can decide, obviously, to exceed those boundaries, knowing the repercussions. But, if there's no boundaries, that's a pretty tough situation to thrive in, because, there's no really clear expectations, and we just make decisions that we feel might be the right decision and just go with it. And we just, kind of live life without really giving it much thought and not worried about the repercussions.
Yeah. Because I know you're the timekeeper over there. How are we doing on time?
We are getting close. So I think just in the best interest of time, I think for me, just kind of closing out the conversation with just a lot of gratitude. Just we've kind of toyed with the idea of doing this before. We've kind of felt like the topics we've talked about really resonate with us, and as those come up, we're going to continue to throw those out there. But you're probably going to see some more of these. You're also going to see some women coming on here shortly to be parts of some conversations that we feel that are going to be real cool experiences for us and for you out there. And this is no diss on our listeners, but we'd love to hear your comments on things that you'd like to hear from. If there's some topics or some comments that would allow you to have a better experience. I mean, we really want to put out something that you're enjoying. Obviously, we are having a good time. If you can't tell by seeing us live on the video, that this is us. You've heard our voices, and now you've seen us having kind of this experience and enjoying it to its fullness. So put it out there. Let us know. So namaste to y'all.
Now y'all get to see us. Yeah. Again, man. Like I said at the beginning of last week's intro, I think it was. Hey, we kind of do this. Like I say, we kind of do it for us, but it's mainly just to kind of let people know, man. It's just two dudes out here, just keeping it real about a lot of topics, and yes, we are coaches, so we have some tools and stuff that we use every day when we coach people to around these various topics, and we just have our just straight up talks about it. So we would love to see what you guys would like to hear about, or if you got any questions that we can possibly bring to the table. Hey, share it with us, man. It's for y'all too, and whoever you might share it with. And as we always say at the end, my namaste to you guys.
Take care, everyone. We'll talk soon.
Night.